Hi, I'm Mark, and today I want to talk about the not so united relations of the countries of the United Kingdom to their king. The new British monarch has to live with the fact that alimony from the north of the kingdom will no longer flow to his family. After 257 years, the government in Edinburgh has turned off the money supply, despite the best of connections. And ironically, Scotland of all countries, well, King Charles may have thought so since the typical Scots frugality hit his household with full force. The Windsors have not received a penny from Edinburgh for 5 years, as Ronan O'Hara, CEO of Crown Estate Scotland, confirmed to German television. They've already saved £59.6 million and made it available to the Scottish government's purse. So, for the other ones from the rest of Europe, it's about 70 million euros. The connection between the Windsors and Scotland has never been greater than it is today. It is the result of the past decades, in which not only Prince Consort Philip appeared as Duke of Edinburgh. Charles also wore a Scottish duke's title as a prince, the Duke of Rothesay. He also liked to dress in a clan's red and green checkered tartan for all to see, and meanwhile, Prince William has inherited the title, and Charles is finally King of all Britons, the English, Welsh, Northern Irish, and of course the Scots. In addition to countless official appearances with and without kilts, Charles has spent a lot of private time in Scotland from a young age. Sometimes it's a few hours in a flower meadow, sometimes in a garden, and again he escapes with brush and easel to the uninhabited Orkney island of Stroma, as residents of the Scottish North Coast report. His watercolors, which are on display in the visitor cafe of the May family castle, show that he has already found a lot of peace and contemplation there. And in fact, no country has more retreats available to the king than Scotland. Charles inherited the castle of May from his grandmother in 1996 on the most northerly point of mainland Britain. In addition, with the death of his mother last year, he became the owner of the vast estate of Balmoral. The 50,000-acre site also includes Birkhall, which Charles describes as his favourite residence. In addition, he bought Dumfries House in southwest Scotland in 2007, or rather, he bought it at auction with the help of his foundation, the Prince's Foundation. The architecture, interior design, and gardens are considered a unique gem, which is why he saved it for the nation as the last minute, according to the highly official statement. At the purchase price of £45 million, which is almost 90 million euros today, the Scottish government injected £5 million. It is all the more astonishing that Edinburgh is now practicing a new radical austerity towards the king, and has already recovered more than 10 times the amount from the Dumfries donation. It is income from properties that do not belong to the king personally or his foundation, but the crown, which means something like the crown assets to which the royal family has no direct access. The extensive holdings, which include commercial buildings and shopping malls and forests and fields, as well as riverbeds and parts of the seabed, have been managed by the Crown Estate in London since 1760. The total assets are said to be the equivalent of 19 billion euros, which real estate experts consider to be a very conservative estimate. If you only consider that only the half of St. James counts a considerable part of central London, as you can see on the website of the Crown Estate, imagine for a moment that, for example, a German family would call half of Berlin Mitte, Munich, or Schwabing, or Frankfurt's West End their own. The fact that in 2017 the Crown Estate Scotland was founded and split off from the English Crown Estate was originally a demand of the Scottish National Party, and became a condition of the independence referendum of 2014. It has been largely overlooked so far, also in the kingdom. Although the termination of the British Union Act of 1707 failed, and for the time being the secession from the United Kingdom did not come about, the referendum brought about nothing less than a fundamentally new relationship to the monarchy. It is not even an exaggeration to speak of a small Republican revolution, even if, according to the market and opinions research company YouGov, a narrow majority of Scots wants to keep the monarchy, and the SNP promised monarchy after leaving. And meanwhile, in England, monarchists may prefer not to speak of a revolution, but rather of what we would call a dwarf rebellion. They argue with the effectively small amount of the Scottish pocket money cut for the royals, it's indeed paltry when you compare it to the total annual stipend for the royal household. In 22, the so-called sovereign grant was £86.3 million, and as a basic subsidy, the Court of St. James, the official title of Charles' company, received 15% of the proceeds from the Crown Estate. Since 2017, the English Crown Estate has been distributing an additional 10% of its proceeds, and that means a total of 25%. And this surcharge, which was limited to 10 years, is justified with the renovation of Buckingham Palace in London. The fact that the increase of a total of around 416 million euros began exactly in the year when Crown Estate Scotland began work is regarded as coincidence when asked by the British Ministry of Finance and both Crown Estates. And nobody wants to comment. According to the motto of the English Order of the Garter, Oniswaki Moliposo, so we would say a scoundrel who thinks evil of it. On the other hand, displeasure has arisen over the way in which the London headquarters of the Crown Estate handed over the Scottish possessions to the new, smaller sister organisation 6 years ago. While an impairment of around 350 million euros was recorded for the transfer in the 2016-17 financial year, the stake in a shopping centre near Edinburgh of around 200 million euros was not taken into account. In 2018, the Crown Estate sold this prime piece and acquired a stake in another shopping centre in England. The Scottish media then complained about a shady cash grab, so an unfair enrichment at Scotland's expense. The fact that the Scots are generally a bit different when it comes to money has been documented for a long time on the banknotes of the common currency, the pound sterling. When England first introduced banknotes with the Queen's head in 1960, Scotland didn't go along with it. The difference is now forcing the Bank of England to make an expensive change. According to the bank, the exchange of 4.7 billion notes with the likeness of King Charles will cost more than £350 million. And the Ministry of Finance in Edinburgh is also spared with these horrendous luxury expensive. Robert the Bruce was king between 1274 and 1329, and he is the only monarch on Scottish banknotes to date. Meanwhile, the move by Crown Estate Scotland is just a small change for the royal family, but still it's noteworthy, for it's forcing the Crown to take better care of itself. And this could make them more financially independent and responsible. At the same time, their actions are inevitably subject to economic calculations, though. But it shows that even if they didn't succeed in the referendum in 2014, this referendum did have consequences, and probably rarely spoken about. And that's why I picked this topic, because I found it so interesting to tell people what's happening on some small sideways of the big events. And that's what I'm trying to do from time to time. It's not always easy to research everything, but there are so many interesting topics on the sidelines that I think people should know about. And now I will end filming for today with this video and go have a look at the coronation myself. I am a Republican and I'm not a monarchist, but it's still interesting. It's a worldwide event, and all the other countries where Charles is the head of state are there. Rishi Sunak is there. I saw Liz Truss and Boris Johnson coming in before I started filming. So there are some reminders for my work today. But nevertheless, it is an important ceremony for many people in Britain. And that is something you have to accept, even if you're not a monarchist yourself, if you're a Republican. But there's a lot of tradition involved. A lot of people are standing behind this tradition, and then you have to accept it. The United Kingdom is a monarchy. And even if the numbers are now 25% for a republic, it's still 75% not for a republic in that case. And then you have to accept this. And it's interesting to see who all appears there and whatever. And gossip, no one is free of gossip, for heaven's sake. And so I know a lot of people, especially here in Germany as well, that will watch it. I will just have a few looks into it because I still have to work, but and I have to edit this video and the others, and there's a lot coming up tomorrow as usual. So it will be more of a side tune for me today, but it's still interesting. And the service before the whole official start they had some really great music there. I have to give them that. When I was writing on these videos, I had the BBC running because they were the ones showing this service, and the music was really good. It's a tasting, of course, but I like big orchestras and I like opera singers and so on, and I really like that. It was a really good thing, and our president will be there as well today. I saw Emmanuel Macron coming in. I didn't see Steinmeier then because I had to go work, but he is there too. So, and not to forget the ancestry of this royal family from various sides. But nevertheless, let's stop it there. I'll see you again tomorrow. I'll be back.